All right. Okay, we're live. And then I shared the link. Cool. Um, so, so one thing that we got to figure out, because I keep getting asked this by various people in the group, is figuring out if we are just everything's ran federally or if we have state laws that are separate. And I can't remember if I've talked to each of you guys separately on this, but let's start with Isaac. What are your thoughts on this? So, in our society project, let's just imagine we're in the same size space as the US and we have the same amount of people. Do you have any thoughts on why? Oh, Saul's here. Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, how you doing?
Doing good. Okay, so we got Isaac here, and then Phil is not this baby, but this is Phil's baby. His name is Matthew, um, and that's Phil. Um, All right. So I was just asking Isaac a question, and we're gonna talk about if there's a value in having states and states having separate laws, or if there should just be every law is over the whole country. So Isaac, what are your thoughts on that?
I kind of like having states just because if just so that there's a lot of variation, and if you really dislike the law somewhere, rather than having to go through the trouble of moving to a completely new country, you can just move to a different area within the same country, uh, and so I guess it's the paperwork's a bit easier and stuff, and then um, yeah, then you can have different laws for different places. So for me, I do enjoy states and but that said, I'd also be fine if it was like split up into a bunch of little countries and then had basically open borders. Uh, that would also work for me. So, but yeah, I really think that people should be able to move to different uh, different places, both in terms of like the economics there and in terms of the laws there to fit their beliefs and preferences. So
Okay. Are there any laws that you think should be federal laws, and then everything else would be state laws?
I and yeah, I haven't given this a whole lot of thought. I don't really know. Um, Maybe some of the obvious ones, but I feel like a lot of the more obvious laws would still get passed state by state. So yeah, I'm not really sure because like I think every single state is going to vote that like murdering should be illegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I I don't know how big of a problem it is, and I guess it more comes down to like economics of like should all the states have to give in money to a federal program or not. So
Gotcha.
I guess that has a pretty big impact to me, but. Yeah, I don't have a strong preference either way. I think that both systems could work well.
Okay. Saul, do you have any thoughts on states versus federal?
I would say I felt the same way he does, but I know some places like I live in Massachusetts, like a Commonwealth, and then
Mm.
there's like for each different part of the state, there's different laws in like a Commonwealth. So
Okay.
I feel like that's a little too much because sometimes like you could be like speeding in one town, but it's like different fines over here, and it's worse. Like
Mm.
like sometimes there's like some places are like more corrupt because of the certain law. So sometimes it can get a little too complex when it's like that. But like the states being like different countries, I like that idea.
Gotcha.
But
Um,
it can get a little complex. So it can get deeper than that too, like with like a Commonwealth.
Gotcha. Do you think there should be a federal constitution that covers all the states or little countries where, kind of like, so with the constitution we have now, let's say the First Amendment for free speech, do you think that in our society, if we were deciding if states should have their own laws versus federal, that somewhere like Texas or California, and just a random state decides, oh, we want to not have free speech. Do you think the state should be able to make that decision, or should there be federal laws that kind of overpower the states for certain topics?
I'm not sure. I like federal laws when it comes to certain things, but then it does like I feel like the states make it better, like with like something like marijuana being legal or whatever. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
legal in certain states. Some people like, and some people are against that, but like some people are for it.
Gotcha.
Like yeah, but like I feel like if like something like that, if it was federally legal, like I'm on side for it to be federally legal.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
sometimes when like if I'm in a state like it sucks because like over like in a state where it's legal, like where I'm at, it's all right. But like there's some states where you can still go to jail for that just for having it on you, so, which is kind of crazy to me because I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like federal, like I like the federal law, like the federal law. Sometimes I feel like because then the states should just become their own countries anyways. They might as well become their own country if it's like that. Like, you know.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So let's say that you were deciding that it's okay for one state to say marijuana is illegal, but another state says it's legal. Is there a law you can think of that you think every state should have the exact same law?
Yeah, when it comes to like certain things, like I would say like maybe like something like very serious, like pedophilia laws and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, stuff like that, I would say yeah, like that'd be good all across the board, like something like that. And
Gotcha.
then like maybe like age limits for like drug laws and stuff like that, like drinking ages and stuff like that.
Okay, okay. All right, Phil, what are your thoughts?
I think we have gotten through the Commerce Clause a little bit nutty when it comes to our federalism. I think that federalism is a great idea. This idea that you have two tiers, and the federal system ensures certain rights and certain laws. Currency is completely falls under the federal government. I think that makes perfect sense. But the way, like, for example, right now in the United States, murder is always a state crime, and that's never been a problem. So you have extreme crimes like murder and rape and whatever else that fall under the state, and you can trust the states to have the laws that are reasonable. The problem is you need to stitch everything together with the federal government, and I think the way that we originally envisioned that is kind of perfect. That is, you have very few laws, like currency, where it has to be handled by the federal government. I know, buddy. And then he's just smiling instead of eating. And then the states can handle the rest of the laws. But what the federal government does is it ensures certain freedoms, like freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, and all of these are guaranteed by the federal government. And I do like that kind of system.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the Bill of Rights would be like our freedoms, and that I agree. I think that's good to be those things to be federal, like searches and seizures. You want to make it to where each state won't be able to decide, okay, the cops can just break your door down and search for no reason. And then, but outside of the amendments, you have the Constitution that explains how everything's going to play out. So you got the House and the Senate. Do you know how laws happen to work, Phil? Do you know if if you're not amending the Constitution, is there a certain place that the laws go where, like, federal laws, if something's decided on federally, I know it's like 2/3 of a vote to change the Constitution, but to just make a law, or to I don't even know if they're necessarily always called laws, to just like pass some like provision of doing like a, where they'd give every parent like $300 for the child welfare thing.
There are some federal bills that are passed that are not laws, which are just like regulatory bills, where some pre-existing laws have, instilled the legislature with the right to then pass these subsequent, regulations. But so there are different kinds of laws. The highest law there can be is the Constitution, right? A constitutional law. That's the highest law. Then there's statutory law, like statutes. And that's most laws that we think of as laws, like a law against murder, a law against stealing. Those are all statutes. And then you have at the local level, your I don't know why the word's escaping me, but your local municipalities pass some municipal laws, and that's like the lowest level of law. So yeah, statutes are mostly what I think we've been discussing in the society chat.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to try to write up something on that so we could figure out the best way to know how we're viewing our society compared to, say, the US. Okay, but let's set all that aside for a sec. So, Saul, you have voted on pretty much everything, but this is your first time doing a video chat for this project. Let's look at a couple of your ideas, and then these guys can chat with you about them. So, yes, no, yes. Are you okay with your votes being made public?
I'm fine. I don't even remember what they were. I've been
Okay.
busy because I just moved. Like usually I don't have my office set up. I'm on my phone, my tablet. I was like it's like I'm a little like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But I don't. Yeah, you can share it publicly. I don't think it was anything like crazy. Like
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of cool for our votes to be known. That way we can like kind of challenge each other's ideas and whatnot. So you voted no against outlawing the death penalty. What are your thoughts on death penalty? Are you like super pro death penalty or just in certain cases?
I feel like I'm not. I don't feel too strongly about it with how I voted. I feel like if I just picked the answer, and like the death penalty. Yeah, I feel like some things deserve that, but then sometimes I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like death penalty could be a mercy too. Sometimes, but but yeah, I feel like there's some cases where like it would make sense. Like
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think about states where like it's not legal in my state, so I'm trying to think about like there's some states for like a murder you'd get the death penalty, right? I'm guessing for that, one of the charges you get a death penalty for.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type. Like, obviously, if somebody murdered like a handful of people, it usually is, or if something's like super brutal. But I don't know. I think most states have outlawed it, but I don't know. It might be like half of them are still doing it. I know Texas still does it.
Yeah, I feel like there's cases where it's justified. But I would say yeah, I feel like I'm for it, but I feel like I'm not like strongly for it. Like we must have it. Like, you know.
Gotcha. Okay, well, another one on here was assisted suicide, and you said no for assisted suicide. Do you think there's any cases where it should be allowed, or?
I said no on that.
Oh, I think so.
Maybe I got the number mixed up.
Maybe I read that wrong. Let's see. Let me double check.
I know how I sent it to you. I wrote the numbers like but I think I did it pretty accurate.
Okay, so let's see. Number 6, you said no.
Because I'm for assisted suicide. I feel like if someone wants...
okay. Yeah, you voted no on that, so I'll just change it real quick.
Yeah, I think I made a mistake on that.
Oh, you're good. Let's see. Assisted suicide 6. No. Okay. Now, I don't know if I got the newest round to you. I don't think I did. So let's talk about one of these things on here because I find this one to be an interesting law. It is, should we outlaw revenge porn? Like, so if there's a couple and they I don't know, they film some stuff or one of the two sends something to the other one and then they break up and then the other person wants to like ruin them or something. So they send it to like their coworkers or they send it to their family or friends or whatever. It's just this idea. I don't know how we would describe exactly how to define revenge porn, but what are your first thoughts on the idea of should we outlaw revenge porn?
Well, like if it's a crime or like...
Yeah, like should we make it a crime to where if somebody were, let's just make it pretty simple. Let's just say that some man got his wife to let her film some sexual activity, and then they get a divorce, and then he decides to put that on the internet, or he decides to send that to all her friends, or I don't know, something like that, and then she wants to prosecute. Should that be illegal or not?
I feel like it's wrong. Like it's almost like assaulting someone emotionally.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like that's like so sensitive because I feel like it opens up like a can of worms for like something like that. Because
Yeah.
someone could be like, he hurt my feelings, or like then like where does it, like, like I feel like that can be bad. I feel like what would be the like would you get like a fine, like would it just be considered a crime?
I'm not sure. Well, let's see. Phil, what do you think? What do you
I
do you think
I
it should
think
be
it's wrong.
illegal? And
Well,
then what would the punishment be?
my first thought is that we could sort of begin to approach the problem by addressing it as a kind of like a copyright issue. Um, that we could write a law where, you, unless something else is explicitly stated, it doesn't matter who filmed it or what. If a court determines that a specific media, a specific property is pornographic, then it's owned perpetually by the person who starred in that pornography, right? Even if it's just a home video. And if it's two people, then it's equally owned by both people, in which case, in this specific case, you'd need both people's explicit consent in order to profit from it. But then how do we then curve that into addressing revenge porn where you'd send it to their parents? I don't know. I'm open to suggestions on that, but my mind immediately went to sort of property law. And
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I hadn't thought about that before. My first instinct was no to this law. And then I realized I'm the only one voting no. And I still don't know. I still think I stand towards no, especially with the idea of, like you were just saying, like sending it to a parent or sending it somewhere where you're not making a profit. But yeah, as far as the property law, that's a very fascinating point. And I think that could be as simple as, the person does it and then they're told by a judge or whatever, you don't have the ownership of this, so you can't do it. If you do it again, you will get in trouble. And because doing it initially, it's kind of hard to say, because if it's property, it would be anything. So if you had video of you and your wife and your kid hanging out, and then you want to post that years down the road, even after you and your wife split up, your wife could say, like, oh, I don't want my face to be posted by this person. And then even that would fall under the same category. Or maybe it could, but that's just for posting something publicly and potentially getting profit for it. But
under my
sending it to
suggestion,
somebody.
this would be only explicitly in cases where a court determines that the content is pornographic.
Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting. Isaac, what do you think? Especially in the cases where there's no profit being made.
Yeah, I think it should absolutely be illegal. The way I think it should be approached in court, I think it should be treated like defamation. So you should be able to kind of sue for damages. So let's say you lost your job because an ex-partner posted revenge porn. You should be able to go and say, this is the amount of money I would have made over the last 10 years had I kept this job. And then they should be required to pay it out. Is the way that I would go about that. So,
Okay.
And I guess for me, I don't even really care whether the content is pornographic. For me, there's like a big consent issue with it. And so definitely when there's money being made, like that should be taken into account. And if it was posted without consent, then they should be able to go after that money. But I even think like I really dislike, there's like a bunch of like those family channels on YouTube that seem pretty predatory in that they're just kind of making money off their kids. I really dislike those. And I think that, when the kids grow up, they should be able to go after their parents and get their money from those videos removed if so wanted. So yeah, whenever there's a video being posted of anyone without their consent, I don't really like it. So, and
Gotcha.
yeah, Phil's giving me a look.
No,
I think
I just asked, Isaac, do you got any ideas about how I could monetize this baby? I think it's particularly cool.
yeah.
So I could start my own retirement fund I mean, he's got to find his own way to college, but he's so cute. He can start my retirement fund for me.
And babies aren't quite as bad because because they're not identifiable. I mean, they've done studies where they like have pictures of adults and pictures of the babies and had people try to match them, and people do a terrible job. And so baby, like 5 years from now, it'll be really hard to tell which kid is what baby. But yeah, once your baby gets a bit older, then I'll have some more issues, Phil, with
it seems like a lot of
posting videos
child
without his
actors.
consent.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of child actors that go through fame and whatnot end up having pretty horrible lives, and they'll talk about what they went through. But I'm guessing anybody that had their baby in a baby commercial, that's not going to happen. Anything before the age of talking, or even just before like the age of 2 or something, you won't have any memory of it. It probably won't have had a negative effect on you. But that'd be an interesting law to bring up, though. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that in mind. But real quick, to backtrack on the revenge porn thing. So you said it doesn't need to be pornographic necessarily, but would there need to be nudity? So like if somebody just took a picture of themselves topless and sent it, like the ex of that person can't just share that around. But what if it was just like a bathing suit?
Yeah, I think the problem of consent would still be there. And so if, they're able to find that there's any damages to speak of for sharing that, then I think that they should be able to be compensated for that. So
okay, well, so what if it's just what if people are sharing leaked internet photos of, like, somebody leaked all of Jennifer Lawrence's cell phone pictures, and there's naked pictures. So if Jennifer Lawrence says, like, oh, I actually stopped getting work because of this, could every single person that sent that picture on their phone to somebody else, could they get in trouble for it, or would it only be like ex relationships?
I think it'd only be like the first person to do that. And not necessarily relationships. I think you could do it professionally as well. But yeah, whoever first initially leaks the picture, I think should be responsible. And I guess that's another interesting thing that we should kind of discuss that's kind of relevant to this. Because right now, the people who own the copyrights of the pictures is the person who takes the picture, not the subject of the picture. And so I think that whether that should be the case is something that we should talk about. And because I kind of don't like that system. I think that the person who's getting taken pictures of should initially own the copyright, and then they can sign that away to whoever if they want. Because I know that there's like been cases where someone will take a picture of a celebrity as they're like walking down the street, and then the celebrity will like take and repost that, and then the photographer will come after the celebrity and sue them, and the photographer always wins those. So, and I don't like that. I don't think that, especially when the celebrity like isn't giving their consent to take the picture, that doesn't seem fair or right. So
what if it was a drawing? What if an artist did a sketch, a really good looking sketch of a celebrity, or of just of you? Should you own it, or should they own it as the art?
No, I think a drawing is, for me, removed enough from the likeness that it doesn't matter. Because otherwise you would have issues where what if you draw a political cartoon of someone, right? I don't think they should be allowed to come after you for drawing a cartoon making fun of them. So that seems ridiculous. So I don't think that. I think it's only like actual real pictures. Even if you had like AI do something that looks real, I don't think that should count. I think it should only be actual, physical pictures of it.
Gotcha.
Can I jump in and make 2 points real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
One is you alluded to AI there right at the end. Well, not even alluded, you directly mentioned it. And I think we're on the cusp of living in a world where it's all kind of irrelevant because AI will be able to make it look like a drawing, make it look like real life, make the person's voice sound real life. So it's all just about who owns the likeness of a voice and the likeness of an image. And AI could you don't need a photo on the street. You could just create one through AI in a way that we don't have right now, but we're right on the edge. That's the world we're about to live in. That my second point was just that we might want to take a pin on the point of the right to be forgotten, which they have in Europe. And I think that's sort of what you're getting at, Isaac, is that people have the right to if even if they've said something in the past or if they've taken nude pictures in the past, in Europe there's more of a right. I'm not an expert on it, so I don't know how far this right goes, but they have a right to be forgotten, to say, I don't want this thing I said when I was younger to be circulated. I don't want this image to be circulated. That conflicts with our freedom of speech, but it is an interesting right that they are able to have in Europe because they don't have the same freedom of speech principles. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Gotcha. No, that's very interesting. Saul, what are your thoughts on? Well, first, let's. What are your thoughts on the picture taking thing? Because right now it's anybody. If you're in public, then you can take pictures of whatever you want, whoever you want, and there's no problem with it. You can't go take pictures inside, like somebody's house or something. Do you think if somebody took a picture of you in public, that it should be more like you have the right to that picture, or is it their picture because it's their like art in a sense?
Yeah, I think it depends on the context of how they're posting it, or like if I consented. But like you said, that's confusing. You said there's like a loophole because you said the cameraman can take a picture, like a photographer can take a picture of a celebrity, and then and then sue them after for posting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's so weird. So that's how the law is now.
Yeah, so the law now, part of like freedom of speech and freedom of the press, and just basically your freedoms of, I don't know the exact details, but yeah, within freedom of speech, you can take pictures in public of anybody. You can walk up right now to any human and take a picture of them. Now, I don't know to what extent people get in trouble if they share other people's pictures. So if I took a picture of you and posted it online and you thought it looked cool and shared it, I think, technically whoever took the picture owns the copyright, but I don't know if anybody would get in trouble unless the person made a copyright on it themselves. So the reason it probably happens with celebrities is because the paparazzi will take pictures and they're calling that their art, their property. They're putting a copyright on it saying this is mine. And then if a celebrity shares that, then they're sharing somebody else's art.
Yeah.
So.
Some people say that's like so scammy. Freaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think people should have the right to take the photos and stuff. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, but like obviously like the people like take like even when you first asked the question about the revenge porn and stuff, I think I misunderstood that at first. I didn't know it was like a video of the actual person that they were with. I thought maybe it'd be like them video with like a new partner or something when you first asked that. So I was a little confused. But yeah, I would think that's bad and illegal. You should get in trouble for that.
Yeah, so I had to talk the guy Eric that is in our group that wrote that one. Or no, actually that might have been Vabehav. Anyways, I didn't even know what revenge porn was when I read that. I'm like, what is this? And then he told me, and I think it just means that it would be any video or photos that you acquired during the relationship that you share to hurt them or hurt their feelings or ruin their lives or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of complicated because somebody's like giving it to you. So I guess as far as free speech goes, the person taking the selfie, they own it themselves. But then if they send it to you willingly, they're giving it to you. So now you own it. So then the question is, what details makes it to where you shouldn't own it? And is it only based on how we view sex and nudity and that kind of thing in our society? Because if somebody took a picture of themselves, just like a headshot where you're just seeing their head, nothing else, and then you share that around, I mean, obviously you don't have the element of somebody claiming this ruined me, but what if they did? What if you had a picture of your ex and you just sent that somewhere and then the ex said, oh, they sent this picture of me? Like, how do we figure how to do the cutoffs?
Yeah, I think it just there needs to be so much more context. I feel like, depending on like how they do it, who they send it to, like, and like what they're doing with it, like, you know, like, and like what can you actually prove? Like, I feel like if the celebrity had like visual proof of them getting consent from the photographer, like, hey, like, can I use this photo? And the photographer says yes, then like what can they do after that? Like, you know, I feel like this, you
Mhm.
just have to have some type of proof. But like, yeah, but there obviously there's loopholes if they just spoke about it. There's no recorded conversation, and the photographer is gonna win. Like, you know,
Yeah.
because technically it is his. It's
Yeah,
his.
but with so setting that one aside though, just looking at the revenge porn part, if like if you and your wife together made a video, or you can think of somebody else and their wife, together made a video, and you decided you both wanted to do this thing, and you make it, and then you have it. That one's kind of more interesting too, because it's not even just something that she gave you because you're together. You both made something together, and then so like when you break up or whatever, you just really want to embarrass her or something, so you send it to all her family members or something. Um,
Yeah, but if she didn't agree on it, like I feel like it's
Didn't
still.
agree to sending it, just agreed to making it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because then if you agree to making it, like I'm guessing usually if you make a video like that, you're gonna be like, please don't show this to anyone, or like you know,
Yeah.
I would say I wouldn't want no one to see it. Like you know, I don't want
Hmm.
my privacy. So
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Phil, do you think that the outcome should be strictly based on if it ruined somebody's life? Like if somebody sent the porn stuff to that person's family and to their friends and even say coworkers, and then nothing negative happened, would they still be able to have you get in trouble and press charges, or is it only for defamation if they ruin your life?
Um, phew, there should be some sort of. I know some people in the group are against fines because they think that means it's legal for people who have a lot of money. But I think
Mm.
fines should often be means tested. Um, so with minimum requirements. So my thought is there should be at least a fine for someone who is violating what. If we're assuming we're going with my idea of like a person who is in pornographic material, like let's say before the revenge porn even happens, it never comes up in court, of course, because only two people know about the video. So then the person shares the video with the family, and the victim of the revenge porn then goes to court to file a complaint, right? Um, and if it's found that this actually did happen, which it should be easy as long as this person who did the revenge porn sent it from point to point, right? The actual files, then the court should be able to find that yes, you are the victim of revenge porn. Like this is pornographic, meaning that this person needed your explicit consent to send it at all. Doesn't matter if they were trying to make money off of it, and then they would level some sort of fine. So that's what I think should happen. Yeah, and they could do that at each instance that he sent it to someone else.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to think. Like, what if? No, I guess there's no way. I was trying to imagine, like, if the person was making it. No, never mind. That thought doesn't even make sense. Um, but yeah. Okay. So let's take a break from that topic for a sec. Saul, can you think of anything that hasn't been brought up that is just something on your mind that you think would be good for a society to have in law, like kind of like a law proposal you'd have?
weed legalization. That's good.
Oh no, we already did weed.
I'm kidding. I'm stupid. You already did that. I'm just being stupid.
Yeah, you're good.
Something that isn't legal that should be legal.
Yeah, something. Maybe something that should be legal or illegal. Maybe even more. So either maybe something in the U.S. that's illegal that you think should be changed, or just something that in our society project we haven't stated yet that we think should be illegal.
Okay. Yeah, I need to look at it more, like the questions and stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the stuff is stuff I already like. I agree with the assisted suicide thing, but I know you guys already talked about that. I'm trying to think about anything else that I think about. Maybe I am the whole vegan thing. Maybe if it became illegal to eat animal products, like
Yeah, we've gone over a few
You
different
gone over
animal.
that already too?
Well, we've gone over a few different animal related ones. That was one I was going to ask you about because you had a couple. So I voted in favor of outlawing most of the animal things, but not outlawing farming in general. But I noticed that maybe you voted maybe undecided on an animal one. Let me check it out real quick.
Yeah, I do the whole vegan thing, but I'm not like I know it's my beliefs or whatever. So I feel like if I made things illegal when it came to the animal, I think it would be like the style of animal agriculture we use, like the factory farming, like those laws and stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, yeah. It was just the pet selling and the farming of animals that you said no on, and I said no on the farming of animals one too. I didn't want to outlaw that one. Now, what are your thoughts on the pet selling? Do you think there should be any regulations on pet selling, or like should stores be able to sell dogs and cats and stuff like that?
I never really thought about that. I mean, like, there's reasons to have cats and dogs. I feel like you know, like obviously, like someone who would need like a service dog, like you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like or like someone who just needs a house, like a dog to like maybe keep their house guard. Like I don't know. I feel like it's like a big gray area. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe they could regulate it more a little bit. I don't think I would like ban the selling of pets. Maybe like regulate it more, like because like I feel like too many people have pets that shouldn't. Like I think most people would agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know the best way to regulate it, but yeah, one of the
It'd be
better
so.
arg.
It's so like it's like such a broad thing. Like I feel like it would like it wouldn't make sense though, because like this I feel like that there should be more laws on to like getting pets and stuff like that. Definitely, because they end up in the wrong places too many times. Like the shelters, like how many animals get put down.
Yeah.
Like you know.
Yeah, I don't know the best way to handle it, but one of the better arguments I've heard is somebody having like an defense animal, like an animal to like be an alarm, basically to bark if a stranger is coming on your property and stuff like that. Because if we can have guns to protect ourselves, so why can't we have dogs? In a sense, I think it's messed up to have this creature that's alive and has feelings be there just to protect one. But if somebody can have one for a pet, then it almost makes sense to be able to have one for protection.
Yeah. Yeah, but people can have them for like as emotional support. It's just that some people get them for the right reasons, but then they're not responsible. Like you know, I think it'd be
Mm-hmm.
more based on like laws, based on like how much, like if someone's capable of it, like you know. But like it's so broad. I feel like it's hard. That'd be like a hard law to pass.
Yeah, well, and right now it's actually 50-50. We have 30 people in this project right now, exactly 30 people, and it's 15 yes and 15 no.
Oh, it's half and half.
I
Yeah.
actually honestly believe that because we said nobody's allowed to have a cat as a pet, right?
Nope, cats are okay, snakes are outlawed.
Oh, because I was going to say, if people aren't allowed to have cats as pets, I think there would be a sudden food crisis that people would not anticipate, with rats like everywhere. Like, I mean it. I really mean it. But
I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many pet cats get rats, but it probably depends state to state. And I live in a kind of a bigger city, so I'm guessing a lot of country land. There's pet cats that are outside all the time eating rats.
yeah, I mean, I'm including barn cats as pets. Maybe that doesn't count as a pet, though.
Yeah, no, I guess it would. I don't know.
Because they're usually supplemented with food from in the house just to keep them alive. That's pretty standard.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'd be curious to see if cats were outlawed as pets, if like in real life, if we just get a bunch of more mice and rats. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I know one that we should talk about. Um, the first law on round 8 is should we legalize all drugs? Isaac says yes. Saul, what do you say? Should every drug be like? Can you go to a store like a liquor store and buy heroin and meth and all that in any amounts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was expecting there to be a battle there. Okay.
I think it should be legal. I mean, like when it's illegal, you create a black market. It creates so much crime. Might as well just regulate it and then like let people do what they want. I feel like people should be able to do whatever they choose. But like I can see where there could be problems where people might abuse it or like like it could cause other problems.
Yeah.
But like I think I'd legalize it. I think it'd be fine because there's some countries where they did it and like it actually brought like Portugal's like a good example. Like drug use went down after they legalized everything or like decriminalized everything.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Phil, I'm guessing that you are more on my side on this, so you
Yes,
should tell
yes,
Isaac and Saul why you disagree, and then you guys can kind of go back and forth, and I'll shut up for a little bit.
Well, let me say first that I agree that we should look at like the Portugal model because they have experienced some success in harm reduction. So I totally agree with Saul on that. But I do feel that although you are eliminating a black market, you do create a massive social problem in terms of the wave of addiction that will almost certainly start if we just like, oh, everybody can do what they want. I'm right here, baby. Everybody can do what they want. People can take heroin. There are a few drugs where at least I think we should agree. Like there should be no crocodile. There should be no heroin. Crack gives you destroys your life and gives you a 2-minute high that you then run around seeking like your next 2-minute high. It's like some of these drugs are really destructive. And I don't think there's any case for them. Whereas with other drugs, there's no, weed is probably a less dangerous drug than alcohol. I don't see any problem with people microdosing on mushrooms, or experimenting with certain other psychedelics. And there is the black market issue that is very real, but I actually believe that once you open this Pandora's box and create more addiction, then you end up with the worst of both worlds, where you create the addiction problem, and then a later generation will try to solve it, which will then create the black market, especially because by legalizing it, you've now created all these users.
Gotcha. Real quick, I do want to read. I just looked up the Portugal drug decriminalization then and now. So in 2001, drugs were decriminalized, and then they show stats. So in 1999, overdose deaths in Portugal were 369, and then in 2016 it was 30. And then let's see, new HIV diagnosis due to injecting. In 2000, it was 907, and in 2017, it was 18. And there's a handful of other different things, but yeah, that's pretty wild. I knew about Portugal, but I had never looked up the stats till now. Isaac or Saul, what are your thoughts on the 3 drugs that Phil mentioned? Which I don't know if I know that first thing you said that sounded like a crocodile or something.
Yeah, crocodile. So I guess crocodile, heroin, and crack cocaine.
What's crocodile?
Crocodile is a synthetic Russian drug that is sort of used for people who can't afford heroin, and it actually destroys your body extremely quickly. Like you end up with sores all over your body very quickly. They call it crocodile because they think people who use it start looking like crocodiles. So at least that's the way it was told to me. I can't confirm that's why it's called crocodile though.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I was wondering what that one was. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they should have like a store where you could buy a crack. I think they should just make it lower the kinds of people using them. Because most people that are using drugs are just have mental health issues, usually. And I think if they just decriminalized it, I know a lot of people who go to jail back and forth from being doing drugs. and they just get worse, and they eventually die. Like there's like how can I say it? But like I feel like I feel like there shouldn't be stores where you could buy all this stuff. Like maybe like psychedelics and like weed and stuff, like that stuff's fine. It's proven like that stuff. I could argue that they're pretty safe. But like obviously, like I don't know if I'd want a store where like people could buy like crack. Like that's just like I don't know. That doesn't sound right. I see what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if they did legalize it, maybe it shouldn't be like overnight, like a light switch. Because then I think like what he said, the it will create a lot of drug addicts and people using it. It should be more like a dimmer switch where they slowly like legalize certain things first. Like I think like we got to take steps in that direction, like slowly, not like instant. Like I think if we did it instantly, like he's talking about, everything's legal tomorrow, that and like you can buy it in stores and stuff like that. Yeah, that would cause like major problems. So I agree with that with what he's saying in that context.
Isaac, what do you think? Should it just be decriminalized, or do you think it should anything in stores?
Yeah, I think that it should mostly be in stores, and maybe like I think we've talked about before that like maybe the shop has like where there's like a rule where you can't take it off the premise, where they like have a place for you to take it, where they have like a medical staff that's there and ready to help in case of any OD or something. But yeah, I even if a drug, like especially with the way that the laws have gone, where like we've legalized assisted suicide and stuff, even if a drug is like known to like it's has a very high chance of killing you the first time you take it, I still think it should be legal. I think that people should be more or less allowed to do whatever they want with their health, and yeah, I just don't want any money going into any sort of a black market. So yeah, I think I'm probably the most extreme here when it comes to that. But yeah, I just really just think that and I'm really unconvinced that legalizing stuff is going to create a whole bunch of new users. Like I just don't think there's that many people who are like going to rush in to buy heroin the day it's legal. Like I think if you want to try heroin that bad, you don't care about its legality. So yeah, I don't really find that very convincing. And I just think drugs should be treated as a health issue. And I don't want there to be anything to hinder someone who wants help from getting help. So yeah, that's where I'm at there.
I think I'm as extreme as you are when it comes to adults. If we could magically make sure this is only affecting adults, I agree with you. It probably won't create a lot of new users, maybe some. But also I think any adult should do whatever they want to do, and I don't care if they kill themselves off. My biggest issue, and I can't remember what led me to change on this topic, but I was talking with a handful of different people that actually work in systems involving drugs and families and whatnot. My biggest issue is I've experienced so many different cases where like teenagers will be like, "Oh, you're 21, go buy us alcohol and we'll pay you back," and that kind of thing, and the go buy us cigarettes and we'll pay you back. And at parties, like anybody, like middle school and high schoolers just want to fit in, so they'll do anything that's recommended that they do. And so with those three cases I just mentioned, I feel like if you legalize heroin and cocaine and all these different things, obviously those two are wildly different, and I'd rather somebody do cocaine than heroin or meth. But if you legalize these things to where you can go to a store and just buy whatever you want, then the people that are going to be affected that I care about are like the kids that are trying to impress people in school. And that's why I want anything like cocaine on up to be where you have to go to a facility to do it. Like, I don't care if it's a cool looking facility where there's rave music and, lounge with couches and stuff, but it's like a gun range. Like, you can go to a gun range and shoot some guns and then you go home or whatever. You can go to this place where you get the highest quality drugs. It's not laced with anything. There's no fentanyl in your heroin unless you want it. I think you should be able to get fentanyl. I think you should be able to get anything, as long as when you go in, you get the healthiest quality possible. You get it there, so you're not doing drugs in front of your kids. You can even, maybe they have a daycare where you bring your kids and your kids hang out while you do your drugs. and then you have to come. You probably should have to come down from your high before you leave the building, but you can't take the product with you. And the amount of people that would prefer to go there and do that versus dying in the drug deals gone wrong in alleyways and getting their stuff laced with stuff, I think people would prefer to go there and do that, but you're not going to ever have any risk of kids getting in there. So that's why I'm against selling them in stores in basically any form. But I'm pro any adult doing any drugs they want to do.
Yeah, so I think we're actually pretty close there. Because I agree for the more severe stuff. Maybe not like alcohol or weed or stuff like that. Like I think I'm okay with that being sold just over the counter, and people can take it home. But yeah, definitely when it comes to the really hard drugs, they should all be, people should be monitored when they're using them.
Gotcha. Jerem from our group says in chat, if heroin was legal, I would have definitely tried it. And I don't think he's joking. I think there are a lot of people that, like, if something's legal, they'll go, oh, okay, I'll try it out. But if they hear it's like one of the worst things for you and it's illegal, they'll just be like, I'm going to keep my distance. So. Oh, and then he says, but I like having it restricted from me because I don't think I should try it. Yeah.
Cool.
Gotcha. Okay, let's see. Phil, actually, you know what? I didn't get a chance to send it to Isaac yet, but there's a new round of voting. It's newish. I kind of sent 2 out at once, but I missed some people on it. And the newest round of voting is all about police stuff. So I'm going to see what Isaac's thoughts are on this. And Saul's. I'm going to post. Can you guys both see chat, or are you guys on like something where you can't see chat?
Yeah, I can see chat.
I think I can see it. I see
Okay.
it.
I just posted one. It went from my Reasonable Vegan channel and from my name. But that's one being voted on. Do you want to read that real quick? And then I'll read it out loud, but just so anybody watching can hear it. But it's a long one, so I just thought. But yeah, if you guys want to let me know what your thoughts are on that. But here, I'll read it out loud for anybody watching the stream. Being an officer of the law requires a federally granted license. This license can be revoked in the event that the officer is fired or even disciplined as a result of his or her conduct. What do you guys think of this law?
Yeah, I like it. I definitely agree with it. And I even think that there should be like requirements that, like, once every 6 months or whatever, you have to, like, take tests to show that you're proficient in the skills.
Okay.
Because there's definitely some and I personally think that there should be like a certain level of like physical fitness to be like actually out doing stuff as a police officer. Because there's definitely some that's like, that I do not think should be out on the streets. But so yeah, I definitely agree with it. And I think I'd go even stricter than what's currently there. So.
Yeah, I had heard things like you could get fired from like your job being an officer and move to a different state and then just get another job being an officer. And I like the idea that this kind of counters that, where it makes it so if you lose your license, you don't do it anymore. Similar to a surgeon, if they do something bad enough and they lose their surgeon license, they don't do surgeries anymore. Yeah, Saul, do you agree with this?
No, I agree with it. I think it would be good.
Gotcha. Now, Saul, so you are a personal trainer. What are your thoughts on if part of police funding was that officers could go to like gyms for free or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, they probably need. Yeah, they should be in better shape. Like, they're supposed to protect and serve. Like, I feel like that's a job where it'd be important for them to be in shape. And like being in shape takes a lot of discipline. And like that job, I feel like you need to have like a lot of patience and discipline. I feel like it'd only help them.
Yeah. Well, and it would be hard.
That,
I think
or
it'd be
martial arts or something, like some type some type of physical fitness where where they're gonna require some type of discipline. Because I think it would help with like handling those situations and things like where they might like get emotionally triggered or something and then overreact and then you know, and then someone's shot and it's on the news. And then,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and I think it would be hard to have something where you could just look at somebody and say, "Oh, you're out of shape, so you can't do it." But maybe they should just have to redo their whatever they need to be able to achieve. They have to do it every year or something like that, or every 6 months, where you have to do a certain amount of push-ups, certain amount of pull-ups. You have to be able to hop over a fence. And if every year comes along and you have to do that, then you're going to stay in shape. But if you just have to do that the first time you become a cop, and then after that they don't test you again, maybe it blows my mind when I see cops that are like clearly 100 or 200 pounds overweight, and they're just like trying to chase somebody down and they can't get them, and it's not good. I would feel safer. I'd feel like officers would be able to defend me and my family more out in the world if they were in better shape. So. Yeah,
that's why I'm in shape. I don't need them.
You don't need them, right? Yep. Oh man, are you a gun guy? Do you have a gun?
I'm about to get my gun license.
Oh, cool. Are you gonna do like a concealed, like where you can carry it on you, or
I'll try to get as far as I can get with it. I just moved though. The city where I was living before, they're a little bit more strict, and I wasn't staying there long term. Like, cause
Gotcha.
like I said, I live in a Commonwealth, so the laws are different. So like to get a gun license, like you have to with every jurisdiction you move to, you have to get another one. City. Actually, I don't know if it works like that in other states too, but
yeah, I'm not sure. Phil, you have a gun, right?
Yes, I do.
Is it different? Like if you move to a different section of New York, would you have to get like a new gun license or something like that?
No, not to my knowledge. I've only ever lived in this county. Well,
okay.
Since I've been an adult, I've only lived in this county. So I know that like the city has different rules, but up here, no.
Okay. Well, Isaac, what about you? Do you have a gun? You go hunting, but I don't know if you own your own gun. Do you have your own gun?
Technically, I have a gun in my name, but I didn't buy it, and I don't know. I've kind of thought about it, but it just kind of seems like a bit more trouble than it's worth. So I have a lot of like paintball guns and stuff like that because I love playing paintball. But in terms of like actual firearms, I don't really have one that I use a lot but I have plenty of access to guns. So
do you think you will get one at some point for safety, just to have like a handgun like on a shelf in your room or something like that?
No, I don't think so. Maybe if I ever like find myself like living in a really bad neighborhood or something, where I'm like genuinely concerned about just like walking outside, then it might be a different story. But yeah, for the most part, I feel safe. And I feel like, you know, I honestly feel like a knife is a good enough for home defense for me. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I wouldn't blame someone for wanting a gun though. I think that's a valid reason to own one. At least like home defense is. So.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Phil, do you have any thoughts on guns, like any possible laws that should come into place? So right now, the only things we've voted on is we voted on a limit of 10-round magazines, and that failed. So people can have over 10 rounds. We voted on a 24-hour wait period. That one went through. And then we also voted on the government keeping track of guns sold, and that one went through. So aside from likes or dislikes of any of those three things, is there anything that you think should be proposed, or do you think everything should just be, if you're an adult, you can buy any guns that exist and no restrictions?
Well, now that we have a 24-hour waiting period, I would like to institute a law where we can have a background check that someone does. You know, think of it like like a passport or accelerated license.
Okay.
you get your background check done. Maybe you get a card for it, and so then you can just retail shop. If you have this card and it clears when they scan it, and it's you, right, your picture on it, then you can just purchase guns and ammo whenever you want. I'd like that sort of
Okay.
thing, so that you can avoid the 24-hour background check.
Okay, Saul, what do you think of that?
What, the 24-hour thing?
Yeah, do you think everyone buying a gun should have to wait 24 hours before they can receive it? Or do you like the idea of there being an exemption for people that have already had a background check and already own a gun?
What would the 24-hour check to be like if they committed any new crimes or?
It would just be this idea, like, so I think the reason a lot of people want a wait period would be like crimes of passion. So if somebody catches their wife cheating on them and then they don't have a gun, but they want to kill the guy that cheated with her, or they want to kill the wife, they might run down and try to buy a gun. And if they bought it right then, they might go kill. But if they were told they have to wait 24 hours, they might the next day like have thought about it long enough to not do it. So what Phil's pointing out is if somebody's already had a background check and already does own a gun, maybe they shouldn't have to wait the 24-hour period.
Yeah, well, if they already have them, yeah, I think that instance would be like if someone already had one and like they wouldn't go to the store, they just go get their gun, like
Yeah.
But I think for someone first time buying it, yeah, the 24-hour wait and the background checks, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like it's still something that's capable of hurting someone significantly, so there should be some laws around it. But I think people should be able to have them because like if people should have them because criminals will still be able to get them. Like I know people can get them, bad people can get them, so I want them so I can protect myself.
Yeah, for sure. Isaac, I can't remember if you voted for or against the 24-hour wait period. Which one did you do?
I'm pretty certain I voted for.
Okay.
But
Do you
I
agree
think
with Phil's stipulation?
yes and no. I don't entirely like the 24-hour period. I think it should be a different period, dependent on the style of gun. So like if it's just like a single shot 22, for me, it doesn't need a waiting period. I think you should be able to just go buy that. And I guess the closer and the more a gun is designed to specifically kill people, the longer the wait period should be. So if you want to go buy like an AR, I think you should have to wait maybe a week or two. And so then implementing Phil's system, I think that, yeah, it'd be the same where once you bought one pistol and you've done whatever the wait period is for that, let's say it's 4 days, then you don't have to do it. Cause I mean, yeah, like Saul said, once you already have a gun, it doesn't really make sense to have a wait period. So the other thing that I think, which I don't think we voted on yet, and I think we definitely should, is red flag laws. And that's where if a family member or someone close to somebody says, hey, this person is mentally unstable, we need to take their guns away, then they can do that. And I don't see really any downside to this law. And it's a law that I think, because it's like a shockingly high amount of people who commit like mass shootings exhibit like, clear distress and symptoms beforehand. Or like they'll tell people that they're going to do it. Where if red flag laws were implemented, then I think a lot of these things wouldn't have happened. It just seems like a very reasonable law to have in place. So
Saul, what do you think of the red flag laws?
Yeah, so basically, if someone feels like I would just feel like they need to just provide sufficient evidence, because I feel like someone could use that against someone. But what would happen? You get them back if they were lying or something? Like, what happens if the cops did have to come take all your guns because of what someone said?
Yeah, that's basically it, because you could totally see somebody like harassing people with this law. So there definitely would be a system where the guns go back to the person, either once they've been shown that they're mentally capable, or once the concerns of whoever reported them have been proven to be false. But yeah, and I think that you'd have to do it where like corroborate it with like multiple people in their life. So, you have like, let's say like a guy's wife and then like one or two of his coworkers as well. All, some evidence that's like, hey, this person's acting off lately. So then, yeah, I think that.
I feel like that's sufficient evidence. If multiple people are like, this guy's kind of crazy. Yeah, I feel like that's just. I feel like that'd be a good law when it comes. Like, but I feel like there just have to be enough proof. Maybe they wouldn't be able to just do it based off someone's word. Like, it would kind of suck. I'm guessing some people would say it and they wouldn't be able to prove it, and then the guy, and then the guy is really a psychopath. So, like, I don't know, But yeah. I just feel like it would suck for some people that aren't doing anything wrong, and someone like maybe like a crazy ex-girlfriend wants to get back at you or something,
Or the other thing, you could just require like a recording, right? Where if you have it on tape that like, somebody says that they're going to go shoot up a school, then I think that, that should be more than enough for a judge to. So yeah, like I think if there's like some hard evidence, then that should be good as well. But yeah,
Phil, do you have any thoughts on this topic that hasn't been said? He might have stepped away for a sec. I have a thought on it, but I thought Phil might have had the same thought, and I keep talking too much. But so one of my concerns would be something. Basically, I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from seeking treatment. And so if somebody thought like if they had depression or anxiety, or if they thought maybe they were schizophrenic or something, and if they knew like, oh, I don't want to get put on a list if I go to see a therapist about this, then I will be listed as possibly having this mental illness, and then I won't be able to get a gun. So then they'll go, okay, and since I know that law exists and I want to have a gun, I'm not going to seek treatment. And that's probably my biggest concern. Phil, do you have any others?
Come on. Oh, there we go. There was water on the phone and I couldn't unmute myself. What was I going to say? Yes, I agree with you. We've talked about it in the past. So we both share that concern, because that's a real life issue in some countries where they like look into your medical records and they're like, oh, you can never have a gun because you were depressed, The other issue that I have that I know you were concerned about too is, if sometimes you just have to trust people. Like, I think somebody might be coming after me, so I actually get a gun. I want to get a gun, and I, in the back of my mind, the one thing you brought up was, well, if they're that sure, then they're going to take other circumstances, like not sleep at their house that night or something else. And it's very easy, I think, for someone to when they're confronted with a barrier, to say, oh, it's probably nothing. People do this with medical issues too. So they think they're under threat of someone who's going to kill them. They're confronted with this inconvenience, and then they convince themselves that they were wrong about the assessment of the danger, and that then they could end up not being able to defend themselves because of the waiting period. And I don't think there's an easy answer to this question. You probably are going to save more people by instituting a waiting period. And I don't think there is like a everyone's happy solution to the problem of somebody that needs to defend themselves. Yeah. That's it.
Any other thoughts on that, guys?
Actually, I just thought about something right now. Like, what if someone's life's in danger and they actually need a gun that day? They go wait the 24-hour period and then they get killed that day. That could happen too. like some crazy boyfriend's like, I'm gonna come after you, and then the girl goes to get the gun. Well, you gotta wait 24 hours, lady. We're sorry. It's just the law. And then like the guy gets her that night. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like everything's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. You might have spaced out while I was making my point, which is not. I'm not insulting you in any way. It's just that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. I think in that situation, you're better going to the police rather than going and buying yourself a gun. I guess I'm not too sympathetic to that situation. Where like if you know that your life is in danger, I don't think buying a firearm is the correct response.
Well, what you do is you talk yourself out of it. Like the that weird person at work who you were talking to, who you're like, wow, they really seemed like they're going to do something to me. And you just talk yourself out of it. You're like, oh yeah, but I'm not going to go to the police. I'm not going to, I just, I had been delaying buying a gun. And that's what I was sort of saying. It's the same thing as like when you have some sort of medical symptom that you ignore and you talk yourself out of the idea that you should get it checked out. Same problem.
Oh, Isaac, you muted yourself.
Sorry. What if during the waiting period, like you're able to have the police like just come and like patrol your have a police at your house that night or whatever for however many days until you can arm yourself. Do you think that would be like kind of a nice compromise there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the waiting period, even though I think I voted against it, I think I'm sort of convinced by you guys that it's worth it anyway. So yeah, any kind of activity we can do with the police that reduces harm. A lot of times what they do now is they will literally call someone. The police will call someone to interview them over the phone. And the subtext is that it's like a kind of intimidation, that person might reconsider once they get like a phone call from the police. They do that with harassment and other issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, one thought I had, and I think I talked to Phil about this before, is that so I want the 24-hour waiting period, but I don't want like a woman that thinks she's going to be killed by her partner or whatever to have to go 24 hours without protection. So similar to what you said, Isaac, my thought was more of you can go to the police and say, can you like there should be a place where there's nice rooms where you can just be at this hotel basically for 24 hours to be protected. So almost like a witness protection program, but just for like a day but then if you have a bunch of kids or whatever, then maybe it is better if the officer goes to your house. But I feel like if somebody's having to just stay, like 3 people taking shifts, staying at one house, will probably be less productive than if you have like a building that has a bunch of nice like hotel type rooms in it or whatever, at being protection places for people to go.
Okay.
So that's one thought. Yeah.
I think our prisons could act as that. Like our prisons should actually be nice and nice enough that you could just do that. So like you could just check yourself in for a day and not have to like be forced to stay there or whatever. But and that's part of the reason that I do care quite a bit about prison reform is then it can serve more purposes than what it's currently doing. It can be a place for good people to be protected, not just a place for bad people to get punished.
Yeah. Do you guys think that if real senators in real life always had their babies with them, that anytime arguments got started, everybody would just like, no, we got to keep quiet. Look at this cute baby.
Whenever anybody gets heated with me, I'll just be like this. Where'd Phil go?
Yes.
With the baby.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
What's that, Saul?
I'm about to argue with this baby right now. I was kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, so one thing that actually kind of got me to halfway change my mind on the 24-hour waiting period is VabeHav was asking for stats, and I couldn't find any. I couldn't find a list of like people that killed people within 24 hours or 48 hours of buying a gun. And so now I kind of feel like I don't want a law to exist just because I can assume there's an issue. I'd want to see that there's an issue and then say, okay, a waiting period makes sense because of this issue. So I really think we should have stats on that, and it seems like we don't. That's one of my reasons. I felt like I had another reason that I was holding off on the law, but I can't think of what it was.
It definitely seems insane to me to have like just blanket all guns. Because I think that there's a lot of guns that really aren't that much of a threat. So like I think that for like an AR and probably handguns, but again, even certain like handguns that have a small enough magazine, I don't know if I care that much about, but or are of like a small enough caliber. So yeah, I think it shouldn't just be all guns have 24 hours. Even though I voted for it, I think that it should be kind of, I think it should depend. If you want to go buy a hunting rifle, I don't think you should have to wait for that. So
Gotcha.
It depends. It depends on what problem we're trying to solve, right? Like if I wanted to kill someone, if my point was like, oh, this person I hate, I'm gonna go put a bullet in their head. I'm not that I'm gonna do that. All right, FBI agent listening. But just hypothetically, I would, you'd go out and you'd get like a 45 or a 22. You'd get a handgun, and that's all you need. Like the getting a rifle, a semi-automatic rifle, like an AR, to me is more like a mass shooting issue. Whereas, like if it's a crime of passion, I think a 22 is no less deadly.
and I guess I care more about a mass shooting type issue than a crime of passion, just because there's more lives at stake. So I guess I'm less concerned about somebody going to buy a 22 caliber pistol to kill one person than I am about someone going to buy, an AR-15 with like 5 boxes of ammo and a couple 50-round magazines to kill, a massive crowd. So I'm much more concerned about that stuff than just because there's more lives at stake.
Gotcha. Okay. I got to hop off here in a sec, but I wanted to bring up one last topic. This topic, in a sense, is such a small topic that means nothing. But I wanted to find one where 2 of us agreed and 2 disagreed. So one that we voted on a little while back was if women should be able to be topless in public. Now, me and Isaac say that yes, it's perfectly fine, and Saul and Phil say no boobies out.
Did I misvote? Did I vote by mistake there? Because that's
maybe.
the law here in New York already, and I've never found a problem. So I thought I voted. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So the law said, oh wait, never mind. Women should be able to be topless in public. Let me see. Hold on. And then Phil. Okay, no, Phil did say yes. I read that wrong. Phil said yes. What did? Okay, but Saul said no. I thought I found one that 2 of us agreed on and 2 didn't disagree on. Let's see. Okay, and Isaac said yes. Okay, so never mind. It's 3 against 1. We're all teaming up against Saul. Saul, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I voted no. I'm trying to think about why I said that.
You're not alone. I mean, a handful of people voted no. That one went through as a yes. My wife voted no. She thinks they should not.
I think I am a no on it. I'm trying to think about why I said no, because I probably was thinking about it, and like what prompt about. It's probably not that. It's not. It's not like a passionate no, but I feel like there's so many weirdos out there. Like I don't know. I feel like it's for their safety. I think that's probably why I would say no. Like I feel like
Gotcha. Make them do it for their own safety.
Yeah, because it's like the guys are attracted to that. Just like that's why we can't walk. I don't think I'd make a law where guys can walk around pantsless.
Gotcha.
Yeah, guys' boobs aren't attractive.
What about unattractive women?
What's that?
Can unattractive women be topless in public?
See, that's another reason why. I won't say nothing again. Yelled at.
This is like unattractive women. What's that?
Okay, what about a trans man? Used to be a woman, got boobs removed, but now just has a flat chest, but nipples are still there. Can that person that was born female but looks perfectly male, like walk around like topless on the beach?
Well, that's so confusing. Our laws are getting so crazy nowadays. Like I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's obviously it's still visually a girl, so I would say yeah, it looked like a girl to most people. I mean, like yeah, it still put them at risk. Like like I feel like it's like a safety thing because like this like I don't know, but some girls want to be all for it. It's like I don't know, like what's real? Like I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Phil,
like I think about aspect like look at indigenous people. They walk around naked in the woods, but they're really free. Like
Mhm.
So,
Gotcha. So it's more of an outcome thing. If you thought that if it was legalized here and people reacted in a good way and there weren't people being sexually assaulted, then you would say it's fine. But you're just saying let's not have it because there will be problems.
yeah, I think it would create some problems, like because there's some weird people out there, some weird men, like like I feel like it would create like some people suck, but I think that's why I said no. That's the only thing I could think of. But I think
Gotcha.
I think it could be a yes too if I really thought about it. I don't think I thought too deep on that one.
Gotcha. Phil, what do you think?
I think that's a very good point that Saul brings up. Like imagine if we lived in a sort of deeply misogynistic culture to the point where, like, if women showed their faces without wearing a chador or a veil or something, that then men who saw them would think that, oh, they're like, I can freely grope them or assault them. Maybe they're even prostitutes. If someone had that sort of outlook, then that could happen. And just because I haven't experienced that sort of culture around me concerning women's breasts if they choose to go topless, that doesn't mean like that I'm just like in a bubble. And maybe there is a place where if women, there's almost certainly is our neighborhoods in this country where if a woman goes topless, she'll end up getting groped or something. I don't know where that is, but it's a big country out there. So that is a possibility. I would say that this is the perfect sort of situation where we talked about drugs before, and I think that creating a drug issue would be really detrimental to society. But this is an issue where I could just leave it in the woman's hands of whether or not she's going to decide that if she goes topless, then there might be a creep who attacks her. That's a possibility. But I don't want to be some smug asshole who says, "Oh well, men should, teach your men not to assault." Like, yeah, but I agree with Saul that the point is you want to stop it from happening in the first place. I just think it's easier to put it in the hands of the woman to decide whether or not she's going to go topless and take that risk if she even sees it as a risk.
Gotcha. Isaac, are there I know what you're going to say, so I'm just going to challenge you as if you said it. Um, is there a number of car wrecks from distracted men or lesbians seeing topless women in public? Is there a number that could reach a certain level that would make you change your mind? Or also, would there be a number of rapes that would have to happen that were extra rapes that seem to correlate with the freeing the nip, that would make you change your mind? And let's add an extra element on it. There's like a certain amount of rapes, so we can say all of a sudden there's like 10,000 more a year or something like that. And we can know by polling that 75% of women want topless nudity to be outlawed.
Probably not. Yeah, I think it should be legal. For me, it almost kind of falls under like a freedom of speech type thing. But I just don't. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to outlaw it, I think you also would have to outlaw it for men, and that seems ridiculous. So like, it seems just as ridiculous for me. Like, it shouldn't be something that's gendered. Because yeah, like what about like a soup like Chris Hemsworth, like super sexy dude that's like not wearing a
He's a super
shirt and
sexy dude.
and yeah, and causing like the same problems. Like, it just seems very strange to me that you would have it for one gender but not for the other gender. So, and yeah, I guess I'll be that smug asshole that Phil was referring to. That yeah, I don't think that you should restrict the rights of the victims based on predatory behavior. So
All right, Saul. So if it was outlawed now for women and men, would you be pissed that you can't walk around the gym shirtless?
No, I'm fine. But those laws are women are more vulnerable. Like men are physically stronger. Like I feel like that they're still at risk. Like they're more vulnerable. Like let someone come try to get me. You know, that's how I look at it.
Gotcha.
And some girls can defend themselves, but for the most part, men in general are physically stronger than the majority of women. There are some women that are stronger than some men, but you compare the strongest man to the strongest woman, there's a significant difference.
Yeah,
Like,
no, you make a good point, and I agree with you. But look at it like this. Not that you need to change your mind or anything, but like I wouldn't want. So I have kids. I specifically wouldn't want my daughters in their teenage years to walk around at midnight just walking down the streets. I would be more worried for them than my sons. Like both my sons are like one's 20 and one's 14, but they're both like big football player type. I'm not going to care too much if they're walking down the street, but I don't want it to be illegal in our society for teenage girls to walk down the street at nighttime. I just want to tell my kids don't do it, and I hope for the best. But so I see what you mean. I think we need to protect, like, men should protect women in our society, and because we happen to be on average stronger, and so we should be aware of how our strength might affect women as far as them feeling safe when they see us on the street, and we need to keep them safe and various different things. I'm even all for opening doors for people. I just don't know if we should outlaw things to try to protect them necessarily.
yeah, I feel like if they really want it and they vote in majority for it, like they can do it. Like it's not really gonna affect me. It's just that like I just feel bad. If anything, I just feel bad for them because I feel like it's not gonna be. I feel like it's not gonna be good. Like there's just so many things that like I don't know. I feel like it's like I don't know. Like it's gonna get put on men. I feel like they're gonna be like, why can't men not be this way? But I know that there's these sick dudes, there's men that suck, and I feel like someone's not gonna control themselves. Like there's gonna be dudes who can't control themselves. There's gonna be weird situations happening. Like you know, like I don't know. I feel like it's gonna it would cause problems. But then again, I'm not like I don't know. I feel like I do feel like girls should be able to do that too. Like it sucks that they can't, but like it's just like there's just certain facts of the matter. Like they're more vulnerable. There's some guys like it's not all men. A small percentage of men are monsters. Like you know like
yeah, for sure. Well, that actually reminded me. I want to bring one more challenge to Isaac because my wife has created the best challenge. She challenges me all the time on all of this stuff, and it's great because they're usually pretty challenging challenges. But she pointed out that if you make it legal to be topless, it's going to be for all ages. And so just like we'll see like 12-year-old boy is shirtless down at the pool or whatever, then even though some parents will stop it from happening, we're going to see 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old girls that aren't even fully developed yet or whatever, seeing that development process topless in public could lead to a lot of issues. Does that part affect you? Or do you think it should only be legal for adults or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's definitely a discussion to be had. I think that the side effect of legalizing it is that over time, that body part in particular will become less sexualized, and then it's not as big of a problem with kids. But definitely initially, I think like at first, it should probably just be for adults. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that one. Because I do see the concern. And also, I kind of want to just mention that, kind of going back to the same line of thinking I have with the like hard drugs. Like, I'm not convinced that like there's like all these like people who like are waiting, you know, to see boobies before they're going to go and start raping people. Like, I feel like if you're that much of a pervert, like you don't care that much. About
That's fair. I mean, if somebody sees somebody topless and then that makes them want to rape them, but if they saw that same person wearing a tiny bikini top or something and didn't want to rape them, I agree. I don't think it'll cause more rapes necessarily.
I gotta jump in because this is like I think we're all here. We're all too rational, and we forget how weird some other people are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they will
safety. Like I feel like they should be able to do it.
And I'm still for the laws the way they are right now here in New York, which is like the 15-year-old girl cannot be topless, right? The 18-year-old girl can be topless, and I've literally never actually seen it, right? It's allowed, and I've just never seen it. Now I have heard of cases where someone goes topless and then they get groped, so that does happen, right? It does happen, and then you deal with the perpetrator. And it seems to work. So I see it as like adult women can do it if they want. They almost never do. It's socially, it's kind of like a weird thing to do. And the way the law works in New York, I think perfectly fine right now. It's like adult women can choose to go topless if they want. They almost never do. It's extremely rare. And then in the even more rare case where they're groped, you deal with the sexual assault. That's the way I see it.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to hop off here. Anybody want to throw out any final thoughts? Or are they all out?
Nope. I got to go as well. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great talk, guys.
mhm.
Yeah.
Likewise, good talking to you.
All
Yeah,
right.
give
Take
me
care,
a call.
guys.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good one, everybody. Bye.